by posting on the township website in the location designated for such notices. A copy of the agenda is also posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building, and as a courtesy, also posted on the township website. Thank you all for being here this evening. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Ballard.
Here.
Finn.
Here.
Moyer.
Here.
Here. Here. And alterations, changes to the agenda.
So there are three additions that are new business. One is to accept the donation of a bench. The second is our discussion on regional planning grants. And the third is discussion on the Route 31 redevelopment project to establish a subcommittee.
Can I make just a quick comment? I noticed lately we've been jamming a lot of things in at the last minute. Can we try to get things to us so we can review things ahead of time? Like I used to always try to get it out the Friday before a meeting. There's a bunch of stuff that was just submitted yesterday, now all of a sudden new stuff here. Seems to be a
Well,
frequent
the
thing.
redevelopment, well, we can go through that when we go through the discussion and tell you why they were at West.
Okay. Thank you.
And I submitted the quotes because I didn't get them until.
Okay. Announcements, please turn your cell phones off during the meeting. We ask that you sign up for e-alerts and emergency alerts at westamwell.twp.org, www.westamwell.twp.org. Click on the third button below the photo. We have upgraded our website this week. We have had some technical difficulties, but we are working on them. Summer hours start July 1st, 2026. Municipal offices will be open Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and closed on Fridays in July and in August. Municipal offices will be closed on Monday, July 6th for the 4th of July holiday. Tonight we're going to begin following the policy that we adopted last month for open public session. We ask that you speak clearly into the mic, state your name, address, and topic. Keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and one statement per person per public session, please. First, we'll go into presentation of the minutes. First, we have the minutes of the regular meeting for May 6, 2026. Do you have any comments, discussion, questions, corrections? So, motion.
You're talking about the sixth.
Yes, okay. Do I have a motion to approve? A second? In favor?
Aye.
And then we have also for May 6th, the minutes for the closed session. Any discussion, questions, corrections?
I found just 5 little typos I gave to my, on 5 points.
That's why I'm talking about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
That's okay. That's okay. If there are no questions or corrections, may I have a motion to approve the closed session minutes for May 6th? And I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving next to the minutes for the May 20th, 2026 regular meeting.
Okay. Five little typos I gave to Maria.
Okay.
I have, I think there's a lot that's missing out of this, and I'd like to submit this to Maria, and I'd say we just shelve this
Would you
until
like to
next.
table them?
Yes, please.
So we'll table that till next time. We'll wait to get and do the closed session here at the same time.
That's fine.
Special presentations or litigation review from our council.
There is one litigation matter that is currently pending, and we are working to see if there's a way to resolve that matter.
by department heads. They're sitting on here, all right. Standing committee reports, or any open space?
Yeah, Open Space has a small report tonight. I'm not gonna do the last name of this guy. It's 24 Music Man Boulevard, the fellow with the fence issue that we talked about. Andy, Renee, I don't even wanna try to do that. 24 Music Man Boulevard, the fence come down, DPW took care of it. He contacted me, he was very happy with that. He's happy about everything, so just wanted to bring you guys up to date on that. And he left a couple posts in there so that I can still eyeball our easements that we have over there, so we're good with that. One question, I just keep bringing this up until I get an answer. Has anybody contacted the engineering department about the survey on Woodlands? Because it seems like, could I call Bank Creek up and take care of it? Because it just doesn't seem to be getting anywhere.
And as far as I know, we are still waiting on some files from Colliers, so that may be it.
So
You can feel free to.
So can I contact them and get some progress moving with our new engineering?
Actually, you were contacting Colliers on behalf of the township, our attorney was, because there are numerous files that we're missing, so.
Okay.
And the file listing has been provided to by the engineer, our engineer.
It just seems like.
Yeah, I understand it is getting very frustrating for us.
Yeah, let's not worry about the past, let's move forward and get some progress going here. So we're gonna wait for our attorney to look, search through the files.
I have a list of what is outstanding, and I have drafted, I want to say it's going out tomorrow morning to them to make sure they understand what is missing from what they've already provided.
All right, thank you. Also, Open Space had a meeting, myself had a meeting with the new DPW director. We discussed the coordination between Open Space and the Public Works. He just wanted to go over some things, what we asked of him for mowing, different jobs that they do for us. And I sat down there and talked to Brandon about that. We're all good. Everything did work out. This is one that really I'm a little bit disappointed in, but 60 Frontage Road, that would be the old Ferrand property. Doug and Tina Borden, I know you guys gave me permission to move forward on preserving that property. Well, I got a call from them, I guess over Memorial Day weekend, and they have decided to back out of the preservation program. The property is now for sale, so they're going to sell the 42 acres. Now, that doesn't mean that they might come back around if they can't sell it, but the way things are moving, I think they're going to sell it real quick. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Environmental? Do we have a report? Ag advisory has not met since the last meeting. Finance committee, I know we're.
We will be scheduling something for next week.
Yep. And the public hearing for our budget is on June 17th, so that will be our next meeting. Historic committee.
Cindy Walters, Historic Committee. We had a very good meeting with some of the historic interests in Delaware Township, citizens and Historic Committee participants over there. They seem to be of the same view as we are, and as the community citizens are in the Historic Committee in this town, that we'd like to try to save the Hemp Road Bridge in place, as long as it doesn't cost either township any money. So the concern is the county. The county has done engineering and surveys and things like that. We sent an OPRA request, and it was due on the 25th. We haven't received it yet. I expected this. They got some kind of a delay. Their attorney was on vacation, apparently, but she acts like she's going to be cooperative with dealing with us. And one of the main stumbling block is the memorandum of understanding that both Delaware Township the mayor of Delaware Township and our mayor signed last year. Apparently, Delaware Township had no public discussion about the memorandum of understanding, as did westamwell, which made it makes it very difficult. That's the stumbling block, because the county is saying, well, you signed this contract, you agreed to remove the bridge, and now you don't want to do it. We want to get rid of the bridge, sell it off for parts, put it up for auction, et cetera, et cetera. There is a member of the community of Delaware Township who says that he is willing to fund as a patron the restoration of the bridge in place. So this is all active and ongoing, and once we get the documents, we're going to review them and then plan a meeting with the county and see if we can work something out that will be of benefit to everybody. And a lot of community citizens, both on the Delaware Township side and on our side, have reached out about their concerns about the bridge being removed. So that's where we stand on that.
I do have a slight update for you. I did get correspondence from the county council that they're pretty firm in their position that they do not want to restore the bridge. They're not going to support restoration of the bridge. So
Right. So that's really unfortunate because of what happened with the county and the memorandum of understanding, which kind of put us in that bind. But if we have a patron, it seems like they might be willing to resolve this. So we'll see what happens.
Parks and Recreation.
Didn't meet last month, however, we are starting, we do have some bids in. I was actually trying to get them on tonight's agenda, but I guess we'll do it next meeting. We have 2 contracts to award for the roof of the pavilion, the dugout roofs. We're waiting for just an updated quote on the fencing for the baseball field. That should hopefully be on the agenda for the 17th as well, so we can approve those 3 contracts, get that rolling. The RFPs went out for the trails and the grading of the soccer field last week, the week before. So waiting for some of those quotes to come in, but hopefully we'll get that rolling as well pretty soon.
And I want to note that the DPW did a really great job putting back together the playground, and they did a really
Yeah,
good job.
a little bit, but they come out very nice. So.
Yes, yeah. Land use board.
I just have one item for tonight. It's listed under 11B on the agenda, so I'll deal with it then. I just figured I'd say that tonight, so you can call it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cannabis advisory, we did have a meeting last night. The topic of discussion was the end of the 5-year period for allowing an opt-in or opt-out for cannabis in our community. The end of the 5-year period is August, so we need as a township to decide what we would like to do moving forward from there. So we're just beginning discussions of what the deadlines are and what the timing is. Technology committee, I mentioned about the website, but any updates?
Really nothing to report new. So, as you mentioned, we had successful rollout of the new website on Tuesday at 10 a.m. sharp, which is right on schedule. To my knowledge, and I don't think Harry or Joan has heard any issues with the content or the use of the website, although the committee has identified a couple of minor things we need to clean up as a result. I just want to say the rollout was a result of a year-long migration effort thanks to Rob Tomchuk and Harry Heller, and at the time committee person deal during 2025, and again Harry, person Joan, and myself during this year, as well as others who helped ensure that the website content was correctly migrated. So the committee wants to thank you for your support and your patience. It's been a long haul, so thank you for that. Assuming things continue to run smoothly, our next focus will be on the streaming implementation. Given our schedules, that probably won't be able to start that at least until June 14th. We also will be working on providing Maria and Pauline with training and the ability to post relevant content, such as the agenda and minutes, and probably the public notice as well. And just a question, finally, as you may recall, there was a meeting a couple of months ago with a vendor to upgrade microphones and sound system. And I'm just wondering, Did we ever get a quote back from them? Did you know? Okay.
I have not seen that. No, I've not gotten that through that.
Okay.
Not for
I thought last time when Rob was doing this, there was some minor pieces that we needed, but for the most part, it was pretty good. I guess that's not the case.
I think that's what was the outcome of the meeting with,
Oh.
with the expert. Plus, you know, a lot of folks in the back had a hard time hearing.
You were talking
There
about
was some
getting
question
more
about
microphones.
repositioning the speakers.
Speakers.
Yeah.
And then additional microphones.
Okay, yeah, that's something. I'll make sure that.
Really involved.
All right. Thank you.
Just go back to EC for one moment. I know tonight, and Jen, you had to nominate Joel as, not nominate, to appoint Joel as the chair. I don't know if things have changed, but we don't have our full complement of 7 committee members. So I would suggest that you elevate, you want to appoint Tommy to full membership rather than an alternate, because alternates are optional. That at least get us up to.
We have one person, another person's expressing interest too, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other public comments?
We're not a public
Oh, I'm sorry. Affordable housing. Is that scheduled next week?
Yeah, so there's a meeting on the 10th. Wednesday.
Yeah. Now can I have a motion to move to the public?
Motion.
And a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a statement I'd like to read to the board and to the public.
Would you please state your name, your address?
Anthony Paleo, 23 Barry Road.
Thank you.
I'd like to also play a video after my statement. My name is Anthony Paleo, 23 Barry Road. I'm here to bring light to the public that several township committee members have taken it upon themselves to weaponize our government against my family. Specifically, they have attempted to oppose our application to the Hunterdon County Ag Board for a pole barn. Worse, township committee members are exceeding their authorities and claiming they represent the township to the AG Board, and there has been no formal vote on this matter. On May 14th, I went in front of the Hunterdon County Ag Board to seek relief for a ordinance that doesn't allow an accessory building to be built greater than 1,200 square feet, 15 feet tall, regardless if you're a farm or not. Days and weeks prior, Mrs. Deal and Mr. Fittig took it upon themselves to begin contacting Hunterdon County planner and attorney, asking for my records, going to the construction office and removing my zoning and building files from the construction office, which is absolutely not allowed. They made copies of my file, which is not allowed, as well as going to the tax office and the clerk to ascertain information for myself and my farm, all through the powers as a public official, not as a resident. So there would be need of an over request performed to obtain this if they were not. After gathering this information, both Mayor Deal and Committeeman Fitting made several phone calls and emails to Ag Planner Bob Hornby and their attorney, demanding I not receive approvals. I know this because I filed an open request with the county as well as with the township, all emails, phone calls, conversations, and regarding my property and application. The county promptly gave me the information I requested within the allowed time frame required, as well as telling me the truth about what information came in. Sad to say, our township/attorney did not. After not receiving the information I requested in the time frame that is required by law to produce it, and no ask for extension, I finally received the open report. I applied for it 2 days late and missing information regarding phone conversations. Real transparency, right? What are they hiding? I'll tell you what they're hiding. Many things, such as improper procedures to allow this board to publicly represent themselves without the proper protocols for them to do so, and once again, a blatant disregard of procedure. They just don't care. If that's not bad enough, the testimony given at the AG board meeting about me from Mr. Fitting was a downright lie and used as a tool to try to sway the vote of the Ag Board. I will provide proof in contradiction to every bogus point Mr. Fitting made stating I'm tax delinquent. I have records show taxes are paid and current prior to his attack. I have paperwork from the zoning officer stating that there is no zoning violations currently or ever in the past. I also have a letter from the building officer stating that all of my permits are current, valid, and all inspections are up to date. But there is a worst part of Mr. Fitting attacking our farming community, stating that if they pass my application, West Amwell will have no choice but to create more regulations on farmers in our township. If this isn't weaponization of the government, I don't know what is. It does get even worse. On May 12th, I went to our town's clerk to file another Oak report and witnessed Mayor Deal, Mr. Fitting, and Mrs. Vanderby conducting business with a man in a private office in the foyer. I requested the over video footage of the public lobby to confirm what I saw. I was denied access by our attorney. But my appeal process has already started because I feel the statute that the township attorney used for my denial does not apply in this case. I would also like to play a video at this time, but because I was denied my application, I first want to, ask a question. I know Maria is the clerk, and I know she does a damn good job of what she does in documenting everything that goes on inside of our building. And I was wondering, Maria, do you know of times where the three people, the mayor, Fitting, and Vanderveen, has been in our building conducting business?
Yes,
Has it been more than once?
yes.
Okay. Do you happen to have any dates and times? I know you keep track of everybody in your office that they were there.
I have to research, you know about the 12.
Sure. Okay, well, I'll Oprah that report and I'll get that information. I'm sure you're going to deny, just like you deny contact the mayor of East Amwell. But I'm going to play the video now, Mr. Fitting, threatening the AG board that if they approve my application, that they will be making it harder for farmers in our township.
Excuse me, before you do that, let me try to understand something.
There's nothing to do, this is my time.
Stop.
No.
I need to
Listen, you're in violation of my First Amendment. This is my time. No,
Now, this is
no.
not acceptable.
This is not, listen to me, this is
Stop.
not your time. This is not your time.
Understand
This,
something, then I will stop your time and give you more, stop.
you do your time when I'm finished my video.
Understand something, because it's kind of a very big allegation.
Why are you trying to
Just
stop us
said
from eating?
that you saw them doing business. I need to understand that, because that's an allegation.
Many of you are services with Maria Vanderveen.
Okay,
I
but
would say yes.
okay, so let's stop there, because those are two different things. I need that to be understood. There's a legal difference, right? Them being together and talking is allowed.
no, it's not when three people are there.
Stop.
That's not.
Stop.
No, you stop, man.
Being
That's not
together
allowed.
and talking is absolutely allowed. Being there together and talking about business that is going to be voted on is not allowed. Let's just understand.
No,
what
three members of this committee
And you
cannot
agree
do the
it's
same
not
thing at the same
talking.
time. No, listen, you're interrupting my time because you got caught again.
Please
No.
stop.
Let her
Please stop.
explain, let her explain, and you
I
can talk
need
about
the public and who is watching on both videos to understand the legal difference there, because those are two very different things. And on the record, I at least need to clarify that. When Maria says, yes, she has seen them, unless you've been in that room and you were now stating that.
Maria, let me ask you, were they conducting business?
I don't know what the.
Okay, let's stop there.
In the room.
Thank you.
So again, the way the sunshine law works is a majority of a board cannot be in the room together at the same time. I have statute, I'm filing motions with a lawsuit with this. So if you don't know the law, man, you should go back and look, because the majority of a board should not be in this building at the same time, let alone in a room. Look, I'll give you the statute if you want it, Fitting. I'll give it to you. So you're not allowed to conduct as if three people, I know for a fact, they were in a room when I showed up here doing business because some professional was in there with them.
All right, well, that's
So-
another question.
So who was here on the
Three of
12th?
them meeting-
I asked, so you know what, I know that there was a person here from JCP&L on the 12th, and you guys were all in the room with him on the 12th, 3 people. That's business, man, okay? So the bottom line is, 3 people, the majority of a board, should not be in a room at the same time because there's no proof of what you were talking about. You should not be in this building at the same time. You're all gonna get the statute. You can shake your head all you want. In addition to you're gonna get the statute, you had absolutely no business coming and representing West Amwell Township to an ag board without the permission and discussion upon this board first. That's a bold-faced breach of violation. And you
construction.
or the construction, taking my files from a construction office, there's UCC code that states those construction files need to stay within the office. They were taken, and I seen the copies that you made of them at the planning board. You just violate everything you possibly can and think you can get away with
Who
it.
did you see meeting with the JCP&L person?
3 of you. You,
No.
then it wasn't JCP&L.
The JCP&L person came and met with me, and Robin was not there. Brian and the DPW guys.
So then it was,
Robin
listen,
was
when
not
I get the,
there.
listen to me, it's very simple, man. I was denied the rights of the Oprah report to get the video of where I
I
see
just
it.
want to be clear,
Okay?
the JCP&L meeting was not all 3 of us, it was just
So,
Brian and me.
again, A bogus statute was used to deny my oath request. I simply asked for the videotape footage
I just want to go on
of
record
the
that
foyer and the lobby to
town
prove
meeting
my
did not
accusations.
include all three of us.
I was denied. The bottom line is the clerk just stated on several occasions, she has seen the three of you within this building conversating. That is a breach of the Sunshine Law, and if you don't think that it is, our attorney is greatly misinforming you, and you are going to learn quickly that it is, because you know what happens? The township, you're not going to be able to hide behind the township's lawyer. You will be able to be tried against personally for doing what you're doing and taking the reins of our township without the permission of the committee to be able to do so. So you can shake your head all you want. Again, guys, this shows you the direct path in which this township is doing to people. I'm a small farmer. My kids are homeschooled.
Sorry, you have one more minute.
I have another person's giving me their time, so I can have another 5. My family is
That's not
homeschooled.
part of our
It's-
policy or
it's-
procedure.
It is. Show me the policy. Find it with the lawyer.
That's not the way it works.
Find the
One
policy.
person-
Find the policy.
It's not the way it works.
Well, you're interrupting my time. You're deducting my minute. You're interrupting. I had a minute.
Questions here.
I can address the public. It's open to the
That's
public.
not
It's
appropriate.
open to this. Listen to me. Are you stifling my First Amendment
You have
right?
1 minute.
Are you stifling my First Amendment right?
1 minute.
Keep your mouth shut.
Excuse me, that is inappropriate.
It's not
behavior.
inappropriate. It's freedom of
You have
speech.
1 more minute to finish and direct your comments
I
here.
can direct my
or
comments
you
whoever I
can
want.
leave.
She's interrupting my time.
Then leave. Simple.
I'm not allowed. This is a
Then
public
do
forum.
your comments.
I'm doing my comment, but you
If
can't
want.
keep your mouth shut to let me do it.
You don't even know
Here.
the law.
You don't know. Listen,
Let's
go.
get the comments down to the back.
Listen to me. Tell her, listen to me. I'm up here, my
One
time
person
frame,
talking at a time.
my time frame got
She's-
cut
I
into.
mean-
They keep interrupting because they don't like the truth coming out.
More than 5 minutes.
Let him speak.
You have 1 more minute.
I'm a small-time person who started a farm this last year to be able to help my family out. My kids are homeschooled. I'm very good friends with the farming community in this town. This man has threatened me. He tried to make me look like I was something that I was not, or did I ever claim. He brought information to the Ag Board to try to use against me that had nothing to do with my application whatsoever. It was a pure attack on me and my family. You have no business, you're not an Ag Board member, you have no business judging me on what I'm doing, and if you want to do something to this community, you need to run it past your entire board and do the proper protocol for somebody who wants to try to nitpick and pinpoint protocol so well. And that's what needs to be done. I'll be following oath requests to get every date and time that these people were in your office. I appreciate your honesty, and you guys can take it however you want. This board has a coup, and they have a majority, and what they're doing is the exact same reason why you called the mayor. You know you had to vote behind it. What difference does it make? You knew about it, and the difference is you're not allowed to do it.
Any other comments?
Mike Spilly, Hewitt Road. I have a few comments. I'll try to keep them brief as I can. First of all, on 25 Hewitt Road, the ongoing construction issues there. I met with a NJ DEP stormwater inspector along with some neighbors. He indicated it was a low priority matter, but they were just starting to get going with it. He was very appalled at the conditions on the site. Having inspected there to actually see this area and see the devastation and destruction was very effective. And he really could not believe the amount of destruction there. I talked to him about the historical, geographical, environmental issues as well. Our whole area is very unique that way. He wasn't aware of that. He's a stormwater guy. Unfortunately, DEP is siloed, so he said that's land use, not stormwater. So now he's forwarded to land use. Don't know where it's going to go. I did forward him my vernal pool information. He said he would issue a citation. So he would issue a citation on the stormwater. We'll see about other things. There's some other issues as well. We noted that the driveway across from mine, at 32 Hewitt, the culvert pipe is very deep, and the end result is it's very deep. The water is going to slam against the driveway, against the side of the road. I'm very concerned about scouring. That the way he set it up, it's very deep here, it's very deep here. It's just going to scour right under the road. In addition, that spot, the other side of the driveway, there's a culvert pipe that goes under Hewitt Road that drains along my property. He's partially blocked it already, so there's giant stones there. It's already partially blocking it. The way he's done it, the stones are leaning over So they're eventually going to fall over and block the whole pipe. And that happened all of Hewitt Road from my part down to the flood. So I have serious concerns about that. We also, it was interesting, I was talking to one of our neighbors. He has a rat problem now, out of nowhere. I said, that's weird. We just started to have a rat problem. And at the same time, my neighbor, John Dupuis, said, oh, he started killing snakes on the property. And he's leaving, not only is he killing snakes, he's leaving dead snakes on John's property. So, you know, we have a rat problem. He's killing snakes that eat rats. So we now have a Board of Health issue I'm concerned about. So there's stormwater, there's drainage, there's vernal pools, there's flooding, and then there's rats. So a lot of concerns there. I don't know what the township can do. You know, DEP is going to move very slowly, but I do have a lot of concerns there.
Have you seen the activity there recently?
No, I have not seen any since the DEP discovery was there.
So our DPW manager called me and said that DEP enforcement was there with a track hoe, and they were digging to look for evidence of what has happened. And they were there with a vehicle with lights, and they were clearly marked they were DEP, so they have been investigated.
That's great. That's good news. Second topic, website. So as Dave said, the new website is up. It has a completely different structure, so all the URLs, all the documents, all the pages are in different places. The end result is, I'm not sure why Dave said it went flawlessly. Basically, right now, all Google searches to the westamwell site fail. You get a 404 error. Any links to the site fail. You get a 404 error. You use AI or any tools like that, they all fail. Now, Google's going to fix itself eventually. Google will re-index. But for anyone else doing research, wanting to do sites, even, you know, there's sites that say, oh, you want to find your local police department? That link's broken. So you can't find anything about the township right now. In addition, there's lots of missing content. The most recent minutes from March and April are missing. There's duplicate entries, there's typos, there's test notifications. It's pretty bad. So I know Dave said it's been going on for over a year. It's really a poor tool compared to what we used to have. This is really bad. Last, on township committee powers. So I talked to the Playos. You know, I heard their story. You know, I've been involved in municipal government in various ways for a while now. I'm really concerned. You know, TC members individually have no power. TC member cannot do really anything. It's your only power is to vote. Once you vote, you know, you could vote, you could designate someone to do something. I'm really concerned. I'm hearing over and over again about TC members representing themselves as representative of westamwell. You can't do that. None of you represent westamwell. You collectively do. You can have a resolution to say, I designate Brian or whoever, but I don't see any resolutions for any of these issues. I just see people saying, oh, I represent westamwell. And you can shake your head, Robin, but there seems to be overwhelming repeated evidence of this happening. And then, you know, when you hear about people talking about things, you're straining credulity here. When you say you're not talking about township business, we know you're all Democrats. We know that Democrats and Republicans seem to hate each other now. I don't know why. We're neighbors. We know each other. But you're banging heads. So you guys saying you're not talking to each other about township things? Come on. You know, and that's obviously a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act as well. So what I'm seeing is, you know, transparency. You killed our website. So I can't search anything. We have people saying that they're now representing that, you know, westamwell is saying we can't do this ag stuff from one person. What's going on? This is not westamwell Township. This is not how we run it. This is not your promises. This is violating all those promises. That's all I have to say.
I think it's a technical issue I really don't understand. I really don't understand this technical issue personally, so I will have to depend on, yeah, okay, just, well, provide, can we just move on to the next, and then we'll talk about it in the next, okay. I want to follow your policy, first day we're using it.
Good evening, Jim Calley, 201 Jackson Street. I have a quick question for the clerk. The clerk is designated more or less to help the committee with compliance. So in that venue, Maria, at any point in time, if there was a violation occurring, were you in a position to make those members aware that they were in violation? According to your abilities as the clerk,
I'm sorry.
you can tell if somebody's in violation if there's more than 3 members together conducting township business. I just would like to know, if you were there, did you
So
tell
this is
somebody
not a
that they could
question
not
and
do
answer,
that?
this is not a question and answer session. Please.
She's shaking her head yes for the record. I just find it really troubling that one of the things that Ms. Deal, Mr. Fitting, and Ms. Van Der Veen ran on was transparency. And obviously, that was not something you were intending on doing yourselves. I sat up on that committee at the dais for more than 9 years in multiple capacities. And it's very disappointing to see you acting this way. It is really disingenuous to think that you could go about the township business without incorporating the board as a whole. I asked a question that's in the minutes of the committee, and I asked who was notified about the conversation regarding the construction department. Bob says, I didn't know anything about it. Well, obviously, Joan and Brian and yourself can't say the same because you were aware of it. So it's troubling, and I think the township residents deserve better than that. And I really think it's incumbent upon yourselves to refresh your memory on what it is that you need to do in order to conduct the business of the township as a representative of the township residents themselves. And I really hope that that's something that you can correct, because I think it is creating a lot of divisiveness, just like Mike Spieley just mentioned, that, you know, in the capacity that you sit in, we're not Democrats or Republicans out here, we're your constituents. And that's how you should be treating us, and you should be doing it respectfully. With respect to the lawsuit, I had asked previously about the Williams lawsuit, and you said that there was a correspondence at the last meeting, and we didn't have any copies of the correspondence. So again, I'm asking, are there copies of that correspondence regarding the Williams lawsuit? Because you said there was some resolution with that in the letter that was in the correspondence, correct?
So you could certainly put in an over request for correspondence if you want it. I'll give you.
Okay, so, well, again, I was just asking because it just said in the correspondence at the last meeting that there was something in there. And I thought that that would have been available because I did request something like that. But I will make a formal open request. As far as the cannabis ordinance, I understand that the committee as a whole is undertaking a review. And who's involved in that review process?
The cannabis process, where we had the cannabis advisory committee just have the initial discussion on what the deadline was for the opt-in, opt-out, and that committee is charged with making recommendations to the township.
Okay, so will that information be made to the public, available to the public, so that they'll have a chance to review the cannabis review committee's opinion about what they think should happen?
Let me address this, because I think your cannabis advisory committee, the way it is set up, it's an advisory committee, so
Right.
you're not normally apparently taking notes, and that's okay, that's an advisory committee. However, understand that anything that advisory committee has discussed comes here, so it will be rediscussed, meaning you will all hear it the first time for the discussion before the township committee, who actually has to vote on it. So there's nothing you're missing, you know, I don't want you to feel like you're missing a piece. This is everything that will literally have to be discussed all over again with all of you present, if you choose to be at a public meeting.
With that in mind, just I want the committee to be aware of that when the vote was put in the state of New Jersey and to the westamwell residents, that there was over, I believe Gary can help me with this, it was, I think we had a 67%, 68% favorability for it, okay? So the committee at that point acted on that. So you would be going against that. So I would make a recommendation that you do a non-binding referendum and ask the community again, what do they think? Put it out on the ballot and have the committee see what the residents think. Obviously, we had some growing pains with the cannabis industry as a whole, but a lot of that was the fault of the state, if you ask me, because they were way ahead of themselves in terms of what they had put forward. And the townships across the state were dealing with all the disruptive natures of their back and forth changes in their protocols. So I think it would be beneficial for the community as a whole to understand exactly what it is that this township committee decides to do, based on the fact that we did vote as a community previously to go forward or to allow recreational cannabis in the township. On another note, is the Green Medicine up to date with their finances in terms of their payments to this township?
We don't know.
I believe they are, Jim. I don't know why no one knows, but yes, I believe they are.
Okay, so they are up to date, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And have you
As
received?
far as I'm aware, and I know there were a couple payments that were sent in a few weeks ago.
Sure.
Assuming they sent them in, they should be up to date.
Right. And
Let me just clarify, only because, again, it would be more comfortable if they were here when we're going to discuss the business. That being said, I will tell you there are questions in terms of their submission, so I think that's why there requires some clarity. Not a big deal, but clarity is required, that's all.
okay. Have there been any recent complaints?
I can't speak for Pam, but Pam.
No, that's okay. I'm just asking you guys, if you're aware. If there's none, I just want to make sure, that I believe that they have, and I think from Bob's effort. And
They've come a long way.
Yeah, they've come a long way in terms
Are
of
they
record.
perfect? No one's perfect, but
Right.
they've come a long way.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they can be good partners with the community
I
as a whole.
think you're at your 5 minutes.
Yeah, just for the record, Mayor Deal, in the policy here, it is a suggestion. And I would suggest that 5 minutes is not adequate enough time for people to express themselves. So just keep that in mind.
Jamie Lang, 26 Music Mountain. I'm going to play the audio of what previously was not allowed to do.
I need to understand what it is, because I have no clue what you're playing. Stop, please, listen, hello?
Or that the applicant has not demonstrated.
Can you review this is my.
Can you introduce yourself? Can you?
I did.
So can you tell us what you're playing? No one here has a clue what you're doing.
He doesn't have to do that. I'm playing the audio of the ag meeting with Mr. Fish, representing westamwell Township clearly independently against the case with Mr. Clay.
You want to use 5 minutes for that?
Correct, he can do whatever he wants. Sing if he wants to.
Outside the exclusionary zone, or that the applicant has not demonstrated commercial farming activity sufficient to qualify for right to farm protection, the outcome is the same. The waiver must be denied. A decision to grant a waiver withdrawal in State Ag Development Committee, Green Acres, the Department of Agriculture, and potentially require westamwell to consider increased farming regulations in our zoning. As I mentioned earlier, we permitted in every zoning district, and we would hate to have to change that. All triggered by an application that is incomplete, inconsistent, and in conflict with a binding deed restrictions. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the board deny the act.
There you go. Anything else you'd like me to say?
Sounds like representation of westamwell to me.
My name is Steve Farsi. I represent your tenured tax collector and probably some of these people in the room. Just so we're clear, if anybody wants to come up here and play a video, play a song, sing, dance, they can do whatever they want. It's First Amendment. Don't ever gavel someone again when you do that.
Not the right.
It's the law, and your attorney should have told you that. Your attorney should have told you that.
Then you choose your.
It is not a threat. It's not a threat. Just stop. You can say whatever you want. The bottom line is, it's the First Amendment. He doesn't have to tell you what he's going to say. He doesn't have to tell you what he's going to play. He can get up here and say whatever he wants. You guys do not gavel people for the First Amendment. You don't do that. I watched your other videos. It's amazing. Like, you guys you have a hole and you keep digging it. Dig it. Dig. Definitely dig. All of you guys. It's shameful. You can smile all you want, man. Because now you guys have, is that a threat when he smiles and smirks at me or no? Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't consider it a threat, so don't worry about it. The bottom line is, when anybody wants to come up here and speak, whether they're for you or against you, you gotta let them speak. And if you don't let them speak, then you're gonna be in a lawsuit. That's the bottom line, okay? So when people want to come up here, they don't have any obligation to say, hey, by the way, I'm going to play this and this. And I heard a little bit about the East Amwell issue. I know Mike Bendis. I also know the attorney. You lied, and you called Mike Bendis a liar. That's going to be a big problem down the road. But you said you didn't do that. I got news for you. Mike Bendis is one of the most upstanding people I know, and he's not a liar. You called him a liar. You called him a liar, he's not a liar. And the attorney confirmed everything I needed to know. And I had your attorney send me a letter after I advised her of your conduct. And I was lashed at. The problem was she didn't check the facts. She should have called Frank Whittlesey. That's what she should have done. Because Frank Whittlesey would have told you the same thing. But see, now you guys are really digging a hole. I mean, that audio right there, my goodness, it's actually video. It's even worse for you. But it's only going to get worse from here. But everybody better be permitted to speak. Whether someone could come up here and say, you know what, that guy, that lawyer from Flemington, he stinks. Good. First Amendment. Do whatever you want.
Anyone else?
Cindy Walters, 12 George Washington Road. I just have a couple of comments. I actually have the sunshine law in front of me right here, so I just wanted to, it's a shame when people get up and misread the law or misstate the facts. The sunshine law does not prohibit 3 members of a committee from ever being in the same location or speaking to each other.
That's a majority.
That would be absurd. That's not what happens. The law basically says if you have a quorum, which in our case would be 3 of 5, in a room at the same time, you are not permitted to discuss business with intent to vote. The facts were wrong. There were never 3 people in the room with JCP&L, and there's nothing wrong with 3 members, whether it be Mr. Balaam and any of the other 2, or Mr. Hoyer and any of the other 2, having a conversation at any time, anywhere, about anything, as long as they're not discussing business with the intent to vote. Secondly, as I heard I'm like everybody else in the room, I'm listening to Mr. Fittings, the video or the audio of his statement. He never said he was representing the town. He has a right just like any member of this committee.
What was he doing there? Please stop. Stop.
He has
address us. Just address us. It's okay.
He has a right, as I understand it, as does any member of this committee, to attend any meeting as a private citizen and express his views. So, it's a little bit unfortunate that people seem to have an agenda here and they're not paying attention.
Stop.
Or paying attention to the
She has every right to
facts.
speak as you do.
Thank you.
I will be gladly providing the emails from Hunterdon County Board stating that the mayor and Brian Fitting on public servers communicated about my property to gather information. The information that he ascertained about my property was through official public capacity, not as a resident. There were no oath reports made. I will be playing the entirety of the video. His direct words were, we as West Amwell Township encourage West Amwell, we are going to make it harder for you. A resident cannot make it harder. A committeeman that goes and has email conversations, phone calls, chains of things. I have it on video, you can't shake that. I have the emails from Brian Hornby, I have the emails from Katrina. I have the phone call conversations from Bob Hornby that you talked to him demanding that I don't get approval. Yes, you're gonna call him a liar too, just like the mayor is calling the other mayor a liar. I have the email that he says it. So he's a liar? He's a liar, say it. Say Bob Hornby's a liar.
I'm not gonna say that.
Oh.
I provided the
You've
email.
already had
No,
your
you
time.
provided email, but you left out the phone conversation that you had with him on the 12th, on the 9th. He gave me,
Mr. Palaio, I
yes.
respectfully ask you, you've had your time, this open public.
So I'm answering the question of the woman who said they weren't representing official capacity. The information that Mr. Fitting, Mrs. Deal, and her husband showed up to the board with was information that was ascertained through the power of him being a public official. There was never an open report pulled for him to get the information that I did. So for him to go to that meeting and use the information that he had in front of him without an open report designates that he went there in official capacity. When he went there and he threatened the board that he was going to make it harder and have greater regulations for farmers in our township, because he's a committee man, he has the power to do that.
It's not, that's not helpful, we can't hear.
So when you try to come up here, and the rule states that the majority is a quorum, so when we have 5 members, ma'am, 3 members cannot be, again, I can address however I want to.
No, that's not appropriate, address here.
So when there's 5 members of the board, the majority is 3. So we know from last meeting that Mrs. Vanderveen, Mr. Fitting, and Robin Deal had conversations, because what difference does it make if she called the mayor and discussed things? So that's business, guys. That's not conversation. So there is a physical proof. You admitted to it on video that you heard. It's on video. It's on recording from live last week. You can shake your head all you want. You admitted to that. You all knew that she was making a phone call about the construction department.
Okay,
That's business.
Your time is up, Mr. Palaio. Thank you. We have one more person. Mr. Palaio, we'll have you and then Mr. Lilly, and then we need to move on to business, please.
All right, first of all, I have a neighbor who was there at the meeting with you, and she's going around, I don't know, telling people how she has you people coming against me, and you are telling her that you're going to go fight for her, you're going to do everything you can to come after us. So you just need to watch what you are saying to these people, because they run their mouth. I've had cease and desist orders put against these people. I've had nothing but problems since I moved in. 10 years I've been dealing with this, and every time we've won everything because they have nothing. They make up accusations just like you do. And you went there threatening the board that you're going to make it harder for, this is a farming community, and this is what it's about. We're here starting a farm, my grandkids, you're trying to take away what we're doing with in our family, with my grandkids and stuff like that there. Who are you? Who do you think you are that you have the right and the ability, because you sit in that seat, you think that gives you power?
No.
That you think that gives you power? It doesn't give you power. And for you, the attorney, like, we pay you. The people here, we pay your salary. You come up here and you're nothing but nasty and have an attitude to everybody who comes up here. You're here to support and to do the right thing, and you're not doing it. And I want to know if the board is going to file anything against these people.
Great question.
Maria, are you going to file?
Please direct them to Mayor.
Why?
Why?
I want to know what's going to be done about this. I want to know if the rest of the board is going to file something
2 seconds.
against you.
I mean, if this is true, I mean, to me, it's an issue about ethics.
Because we elected you to be up here for the people. And it's up to you, especially Maria, it's her job for what she's doing, to speak up and to set the record straight. Which she did. But now it needs to go one step further and file and report this.
Thank you.
Tim Whaley, 21 George Washington Road. Mayor Deal, I just have one question. Are we moving to get rid of the construction office? Are you moving to get rid of the construction office?
We are looking at all of the departments that bring in revenue. The budget is very, very tight. We're close to cap. We're looking at everything that we could possibly minimize the expenses and look at shared services.
Does the township pay for the construction office?
Township pays for the construction office, the salaries, and westamwell pays the health benefits and the FICA and all the other things for the employees. And westamwell pays nothing.
Also requires fees.
Please stop.
This is, I have a feeling that this is the majority of the reason these people are here. So this is an important question. Can we not put this on the agenda for the next meeting?
We probably will be able to, but it'll be part of our budget discussion, definitely. And the budget is on the discussion for next agenda,
Next month?
on the 17th of June.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you.
Part that needs to be removed is the one that's sitting up.
Please stop.
Okay. We need to move on to the business of the committee, so we have a motion to please close open session. I'll make a motion. And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the first resolution tonight is Resolution 83-2026, appointing Joel Coyne as the chairman of the Environmental Commission. Do I have any questions, comments? If not, may I have a motion to approve this resolution? I'll make a motion. May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? Okay, thank you very much. Resolution, thank you, Phil. 80-2026 has been approved. Resolution 84-2026, which is support for the preservation of Block 12, Lot 28. This is a resolution to endorse the Open Space Committee's efforts to identify and solicit partnerships with other organizations interested in the Sauerland region protection for the preservation of the property known as Block 12, Lot 28, the address of which is 216 Rock Road West, westamwell, New Jersey. This is a property that is approximately 109 acres that we're looking to, we're soliciting other partners such as Delaware, Greenway, and whoever else may be interested. I think there's some nonprofits that are interested in assisting with this. It is an important piece of property for the wetlands and the watershed. So, can I have a motion to approve
I'll
this?
just say that 2 Sundays ago, I walked the property for 3 hours with Joel Coyne and a botanist and a birder, and we found a lot of wetlands and streams and some plants that were in danger. We hope the botanist is going to be able to research that. So I would like to make a motion to accept this.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you. Under new business, the first thing is we have a request from the daughter of Bob and Miranda Stavish, Susan, she would like to donate a bench for use here on the property, since this used to be her parents' farm. And I would like to know if that would be acceptable for the township. She is willing to, she would like to pay for it, have a plaque and appreciation for her parents, and I think that would be a very wonderful thing for us to accept, and I appreciate her generosity. If that's okay, could I go ahead and approve that? Make a motion to approve that? That we accept the donation of the bench? All in favor? Aye. Second new business is discussion or approval of the content of the stormwater newsletter. We have as a requirement for meeting the stormwater DEP regulations, we need to provide materials for the education and of our community, our residents, and children in the schools, and whoever else that we can educate about what it means to have stormwater control, the regulations, and just descriptions about what rain is, the importance of maintaining our wetlands and building resilience toward fighting, being able to withstand things like Hurricane Ida. So what we have is 6 pages that Joan and our committeewoman Joan Everett and Mr. Coyne of the Environmental Committee have collaborated on to provide as this draft, and when there are any questions about it, and then we will discuss how we can distribute this. This is something that we can get points for on the point system for one of the clients we need, and it's very, very necessary thing as well to provide the educational information. Do you have any questions, comments on it?
Looked like it was nicely put together. I think part of the discussion should be how it might be best made available to
Yes, correct. So we have obviously different options. Certainly would be,
Once we decide how to distribute it, whether we send it out and everybody brings it, I'm sorry.
I asked if there was a focus on how many different things.
Well, what we want to do is, however we decide to do the first one, distribute it, the subsequent ones would all appear on the website. And then we could do as many as we want. At no cost. Because Joel and I collaborated to save the township several $1,000, not having to go to add a commercial,
under anyone to produce that. So the plan is to at least have it on the website. I believe you're talking about multiple different ways of distributing it to your VR e-alerts.
and depending on what the open space committee is willing to fund. I provided John and Joel with the cost so that they can go them over.
And I believe we have some additional funds in the Clean Communities grant, which we may be able to use as well. You could provide a list of the different funding, the options that you want. Yep. So where would you like to move forward? How would you like to move forward with this?
Well, we'd like to get it published in whatever way we're going to publish it as soon as possible, so. If anybody finds it, Brian found it an error. And if anybody finds any other errors, we need to correct those before we publish it.
Okay.
But other than that, we just need to decide how we're going to publish it. So that'll depend on the open space committee.
What funds we might be able to get some from the communities in their grant as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are different options. We can either do via postage, we can do email, we can do postcards, we can point people to the website. What is the flavor that everyone is interested in? Obviously, we won't want to spend thousands of dollars on this, but we certainly do need to get it
I
out.
found one of the most efficient ways of getting information out is the every report.
Yeah, that's option number 3.
You can actually print both sides of the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so you get.
Well, it wouldn't be quite that big. It's for the $600.
No, we can get everyone in the township with that. Did we?
In fact, you got everybody in the township plus a little bit.
Plus
Is that what, maybe that's what it was, you got something like that, okay.
So relatively small cost of $600, we can get a pretty wide distribution of this thing. So if that's what they would like to do, can we move forward with?
That was just me, so.
Well, I think we should do all free stuff. We should go on the website.
Oh, yeah, definitely do all that, yeah.
I mean, we have to basically approve the content. So
Yeah.
if the content is approved, then we should go on the website. I think we should print them out, have them here. They're all free.
Your lead can actually put a little QR code, people can just pick it right up.
The e-notice, or e-alert, free, and then if you want to choose one that costs some money, those are all free, so.
For relatively low, cost of $600, I think this would be.
Well, if the $600 doesn't include Brian's suggestion of printing out some extra copies. So we have to figure that out.
Okay.
Well, those would just be,
Yeah, but we can't print this whole thing
Well, it doesn't
for
print,
$600.
it doesn't print very well.
Yeah,
Yeah. We have to go to a print shop.
Yeah, you have to.
little QR code or something.
You get a lot of your message on.
Yeah.
And one of the great things about it is you don't have to go to presses.
And
Yeah,
that reduces the,
I would vote to do that one, it's a lot cheaper.
I mean, the big thing is content. So if we're looking with content, then we can, then we can further discuss how it's parsed, parsed out.
aside from what you do, did you, anyone else find anything that you thought you could change? All right, well, with the error that we found, that we corrected, it is, the pleasure of the lead, and we move forward in pursuing.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that if we print 500 copies for the county, it's going to be $456, plus the cost to create the postcard and mail that out. PPM. So it will still be.
What's the 460?
It's to print, as Brian suggested, to have some that are available in the township,
No.
say 500 copies. Because our printer doesn't do a good job, so. Can I figure the price for 450?
All right, so we can, we set a deadline for when we're getting this out. When you use the expectation.
Time-wise?
Yeah.
Well, it's just a matter of designing the postcard and getting that to the printer.
So what are you?
You say you have it ready for introduction next meeting, we can approve it, send it.
Okay. I can do that.
You have to cancel it.
Yeah, last time.
Okay, thank you. Next item. Mr. Pfeiffer. Response from Mr. Pfeiffer, agriculture, regarding the land use policy.
Yeah, so for the benefit of the public who haven't been at prior meetings where this was discussed, the land use board was asked to look into our standards for agricultural structures after the current zoning officer started looking at, any new applications for barns under our accessory structure standards, which is, 1,200 square feet and under 15 feet in height. And so we have a subcommittee of the land use board that's been working with Ag Advisory, also including Mr. Fulper in these discussions, who's been very helpful. Mr. Fulper gave us a contact with the Department of Ag, who's met with us a couple of times. And we had asked a number of questions, and she offered to go to their legal group at the SCDC or Department of Ag to see how we could connect all of these dots. And so I talked to Paul Hunt, who's the chair of Ag Advisory, yesterday. He's busy planning, so he hasn't had time to read it yet. So he said he will run it by AAC, and spoke right forward to do a copy last week. If you have time at some point, I appreciate it. I'll send you the attachment. I thought I sent it to you. Yep, sorry. So anyway, so basically, one of the questions was, how can we deal with some of these cases administratively without people having to go to the county? And Ag Advisory's recommendation was that you don't allow these larger buildings on all farmland assessed lots, but only on commercial farms, which then raised the question, how do we confirm somebody's a commercial farm, right? And basically the response that we got back from the state is more or less that, the county is the only one that can certify that. It can't be certified or determined locally by the AAC. So given that, I'd like some direction from the committee and from the Ag Advisory as to, how they want to address that. Should we go back to looking at all farmland assessed properties? I think personally we need to be looking at accessory structure standards in general. One of the examples that I brought up is right now, if you have 1,000-foot long lane and your house is 1,000 feet away from the road, and you want to put a shed 900 feet away from the road, you can't because it's between the house and the road. I think we should look at being a little bit more creative with some of those standards. Westamwell, in their ag zones, they have a lot of problems with their ag ordinances because they don't, for example, allow farming in their sideline zone, which is not something we would obviously want to do. But in the areas where they do permit farming, they do allow a farm building to be between the road and the house, provided it meets the minimum front yard setback for the zone. Delaware Township, I think, is a little bit more creative than some of the other ones I've seen in that they have a sliding scale. So the bigger the building, the more of a setback you need. And I think, we could look at it, so, obviously if you have a 5-acre farm, you're not gonna have as much room to put something up if you have a sliding scale of setbacks as if you have a 100-acre farm. So that may be something we can look at, but I wanted to get, before I schedule another meeting with Rachel, I wanted to get feedback from AAC to see if they have any changes or recommendation, and I also wanted to get feedback from us.
Have the tax assessor
He was supposed to be at the last meeting. But
Yes, so I invited both the tax assessor, it took me a long time to schedule the meeting, and I invited both the tax assessor and the zoning officer. And unfortunately, Nicole was delivering her child about 2 hours before the meeting, so obviously she was excused. And the zoning officer canceled at the last minute because he had some conflict in his other towns. But I don't think, based on what I've heard anecdotally, they have the farmland assessment records, but that doesn't necessarily delineate somebody who's a commercial farm, which has a separate set of standards. Like you have to have over $2,500 in income, whereas for farmland assessment's a lower threshold. So that was one of the questions I raised, is like administratively, if somebody comes in and files an application with the zoning officer, what do they do to check the box to make sure that they're qualified if we're going to follow Ag Advisory's recommendation and only use this for commercial farms? Because if it's farmland assessment, that's a little simpler, right? Because that's in the tax code. So I'll make sure you get the attachment.
Sean, do you have any anecdotal information from Easttown or Delaware Township in terms of how successful those laws are?
Not specifically, no. I can ask.
Because they might give some feedback that would help.
I did
know if
reach.
that's a good idea or not.
I did reach out to Mr. Hornsby at the county back at the beginning of the year when we first started looking at this, and he did say that, unfortunately, there probably isn't a one size. I'm summarizing, but he basically indicated that it's not a one size fits all solution. Usually, there's a lot of site specific things that they have to look at.
But yeah, the sliding scale sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah, but I'd like to get the agricultural community's feedback through AAC again, because now that we have feedback that some of the things they suggested we look at are likely not possible under state statute, and they want to change it.
Well, they know better than anybody.
Yeah. Do any of you have anything specifically you want to look at in your time?
I've been in those meetings, Sean, so I think you got my comments.
Okay. So, but you think we're on the right track with this?
Yeah, I mean, I hate that it's dragging out and it's getting so complicated, but I think it's something that's not very easy to solve, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. The next item on new business is transfer of Holton Way Road to the township deed of dedication. So I believe there were some questions raised by our engineer about this, the Holton Road transfer.
Yes, there were, and I think there's just some concerns that need to be clarified still. So we might want to hold that one, and we get a little better understanding of what we're missing at this point.
Correct, and I directed DPW to inspect the paving job, and there were some problems there too as well, so I guess what my question is, since they've already done this, and receiving dedication, so is it going to be, what is the next step for us?
Okay. So, because they've recorded the deed, I'm not entirely sure what our options are in terms of like dealing with this open issue, because it is an open issue that is going to cost the township something. The question is how much. There are options, none of them good. None of them that won't cost something. So, I'll put together something in terms of your options.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with what's going on here, so.
what I can't understand, I don't understand, is that you did it in October, but then they had discussion in May,
Yeah.
so.
Timeline seems a little off.
Yeah.
Not sure yet.
Okay, all right, so Andy, we want to,
There's a window there that'll allow us to rescind that approval.
okay, so then do we want to hold this one,
Yes.
after you,
Yes.
would you like to have that on the next?
Yes.
Agenda?
Yep.
And there's no way to get the builder to come back and fix the road.
That's me.
Not an easy avenue, but all options should always be considered.
Okay. Okay, so we will hold that for next. Okay, so then, the next item was the redevelopment financial agreement of the Route 31 North redevelopment area, the Route 31 North urban, a new entity that was formed by ECT, which was the company that we sort of gave conditional approval as a redeveloper. They withdrew their financial and redevelopment proposals from last meeting that we had prior to us looking at it. And I had, in our attorney, we had a conversation with it to understand what they were doing, because in the time period between when they originally approved it as a conditional developer, they created a new entity, created a new name. We weren't sure exactly what the certifications and credentials were associated with the new entity. So there are lots of questions about the redevelopment and financial agreements that they presented that then we through. What I would like to do is appoint, hopefully you will agree with Gary and Bob, to a subcommittee to dig into these, the redevelopment agreement and the financial agreement.
Yeah, I was actually in, because I was in the process of hopefully getting something negotiated with them at the end of last year, but weren't really there yet, so I was curious of what the financial negotiations were. So yeah, I'll definitely get involved.
Yeah, so the conversation we had was not negotiating, understanding what this new entity was, and, if they were certifying the same credentials as the original entity, and the language that, in my reading of it, was a little different from what we were presenting initially. It's a lot, yeah, so if you would be willing to take those two agreements and take a look at them, their attorney agreed to refine some of the language, so it's more specific about how they intend to redevelop that property in conjunction with their original plan that they presented, and that we certified them under. So I would appreciate it if you would, take both of those agreements, take a look at it. She decided that by next week that she was going to be having
I believe that's what
a revision, with some of the definitions tightened up. And when that comes, if we could just
I
send it
don't
to
think
me.
I have the originals, if I can get like the whole.
That was in our packet. For
The
last-
original one? Oh, when we approved it?
Yes.
That's right, okay.
They're both, yeah, no, here's the original. That was.
Well, you want to send me a
before
copy,
that.
I'll need your copy.
Okay.
So does that mean, was this a sale and assignment or something like that?
Yeah, this is.
Their explanation was actually that it was a transfer, yes, but not really in terms of the same owners. So it sounded more like a business strategy than anything else that they were doing.
Right.
One owner for the property, one owner for one.
Yeah.
It's just a structural thing.
Yeah, that's,
The
so,
owner and occupant are the same but different.
But the language is totally presumptuous.
well, there is some, language that we really need to look at, and especially, there's some in the redevelopment agreement and some in the financial agreement that really need to be looked at with a fine tooth comb. Because we passed the original, well, the original was their plan. So, yeah. Okay. All right, so on that.
I'm going to send you.
You all, just make sure I have it all together, send me all from day one to where we're at, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay, so then, I hope will have their revision next week, and I don't know if we need time for our next meeting, but I appreciate if you take that over. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. As we discussed at the last meeting, the state has, in the Resilience New Jersey, has announced the availability of grants, a substantial amount of money for projects that would be undertaken by a minimum of 3 municipalities and at least one community benefit organization. And the grants that could be up to $300,000. The state is offering them.
Just split though, right? That's how it would work. 300 total split amongst.
Well, what that does is provide consultants for the regional group to help with their planning for resiliency, for stormwater or even wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
So the mayor of Renville, Mayor Nowick, has volunteered to be what is called a prime partner in this, which means they would do all the associated paperwork with it, coordinate all the work with the consultants, coordinate all the grant tracking and anything else that would be purchased for that. We had an initial conference call a couple days ago. It was myself, the mayor of Lambertville, there was a representative, the mayor of Delaware Township. There were 2 representatives from East Westamwell, and there was a representative from Hopewell Township, all of whom were very interested in participating in this, as well as a representative from the Sallands Conservancy and the Watershed Institute, which brings a lot of expertise to the project and a lot of experience in the fact that Lambertville has done a lot of this resilience planning, and they had a consultant that helped them do their plan last year, and it certainly expense like $105,000. So they have a lot of experience in doing this. They would be the prime and the other 4 municipalities, all of whom expressed interest in participating, as well as those 2 community-based organizations. We have to put together an application. So I'd like to discuss whether it would be okay for us to go ahead. I would like to enlist some help from the chair of the Environmental Commission, perhaps the Environmental Commission itself. There is an application that each of the not the prime, but the associated municipalities have to put together, which basically asks about what our planning has been for stormwater. Do we have concerns? Do we have major areas where there needs remediation? Those kind of things that they would like to know. And then those would be coordinated with that of the Sourlands and the Watershed Institute by Lambertville, who coordinate and combine them all as one group regional application. And that is very promising, especially since we have 5 municipalities who are very interested in participating. So if it's the will of the committee, I would like to pursue moving forward with the application for westamwell and with some assistance from the environmental community, and bring that application back. The deadline for it is July 7th, so it's a pretty short time frame. And we would have time to bring the application together and bring it back to the committee for our next meeting, so you can look at it, see if that is acceptable, and it would be okay to go ahead and provide that to the Land West time. So that would be June 17th. I think it'd be a good opportunity, since we are so far behind with all of our stormwater planning and compliance, that we could be able to, this is a 2 to 2.5 year project, and the end product would be a plan that we can use for stormwater mitigation and resilience plan, which is a significant document that would cost alone something more than we as a loan could afford to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a grant, so it's always good to pursue that. I think at the end of the day, we're gonna get something. Right?
We'll get a plan out of it, which which is,
Well, yes, we'll eventually obviously, we'll have a lot of assistance in that.
so if I have your agreement, if I can proceed, we get that together and we can bring what we can, hopefully I can get some assistance from the environmental committee, and then we can bring it back to our next meeting.
Do we need to involve any of our professionals in this process now?
The professionals are obviously optional. There is some provision for payment of professionals, but what step at this point is not in the application process. So it's basically the responsibility of the municipalities that is to do the application, move forward with that, and then at that point, they actually have, the state has vetted some consultants that they will assign to different regional areas so they can assist with the plans there. And can a grant pay for those professionals? Yeah,
Bob, do you mean professionals?
like our engineer.
Our professionals, yeah.
No, but I mean to get to the point of.
Of the application.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so it doesn't sound like it. Okay.
No. And the application actually is fairly simple. You do have to put through a budget, and the budget will differ depending on the function. So the community-based organizations would have much more of a budget in terms of, they would subsidize funds of their staffing, their research, and any kind of investigations that they need to do. So those budgets would be more than the budgets for the municipalities, because a lot of this is volunteer work, and there will be some budgets, for supplies and things like that, but and I will be asking our CFO to assist with whatever budget we might propose.
Well, I like the fact that it was resiliency, but it includes stormwater and the wildfire.
And if we don't ask, we don't get it, so. All right,
Yeah,
that's good.
no issue.
So you think, I have the commissioner report? Yep. Okay. Any unfinished business? Okay. Moving on to the administrative, we have bill lists. I do have a question for our clerk. We did, in previous meetings, withheld from the May 5th meeting, payment to the Colliers Engineering.
We tried to negotiate it,
I don't believe that there has been any movement on that at this point. I would kind of seek some guidance on where we would be able to stand, where we stand on this relation to this. As I understand it, a lot of these are escrow accounts that do not have funds in them anymore. And these are, potentially, they did work without authorization.
Yeah, there was a good amount of that even last year. I mean, we talked about trying to put a policy in place, but we never did. I don't know what that policy is, but I think it's a little complicated, but we should look at that so we don't get in this situation again.
Well, I think there was some questions about how the escrow accounts were being managed at that point, too.
Yeah.
Thoughts? When we held it off from our May, it was our May meeting. We still have some.
Did anybody actually call to try to negotiate with Peter Paul?
I don't believe so. So let me ask him.
So I would imagine maybe some
I know he had spoken to him and saying, clarifying that it was escrow accounts.
and if the escrow accounts were not funded, and they would go, that's on them to an extent, but it's on us too.
Yeah. So, can I ask our clerk, you did reach out, did you not, to these organizations about the escrow deficits? And
Anyone that had a deficiency that you were asked to reach out to.
And And did you get responses?
Yes.
Okay, and any funds result from any of this?
Yes, they replenished the accounts of the people.
Okay, so this is a moot point at this point?
I don't know what that is.
This is the Collier's list that we did not pay off the May 5th bill. Do you want to see it?
You know, Rob, I know one of them was NJ Free Grow. They had an outstanding balance for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I know, I got a copy on an email, so I don't know exactly what's going on. I would like, Darlene to get me up to speed on where we're at with those guys.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's different.
No.
Well, anyway, just real quick, they had an open balance, open escrow balance, and if we're trying to make some sort of settlement with them, if that still is open, that needs to be taken care of. Darlene, if you can bring me up to speed of what we're looking to do with them, I'd appreciate it.
Do with who? Let me be clear.
NJ Free Grow, we got an email this week about trying to set up a meeting with them to do something, right?
I think we're looking to move the process forward,
Yeah.
and that is like on its way. And that was literally not really discussed yesterday, we discussed more of like the process. And I know that we are working, we have set a date for the CAC meeting on Monday, this Monday. So they're actually going to meet again, and that will be one of the items discussed.
And Bob, when you say a policy in place, what did you mean?
Well, it's not related to color, but we had some of our professionals, people accumulated funds, and there wasn't any money in their escrow. So when we try to call some of these people and say, hey, your escrow is in the negative, you need to pay, they basically rule us off. And there was no legal, from what I remember, there's no legal way to go back and try to recoup these funds, we're kind of screwed.
But I mean, policy in place on how, what we maintain for escrow balances are required to applicant?
Well, a better accounting of when it gets low or negative or, so we can't do stop all services, right? That doesn't occur right now. They just keep going and all of a sudden a month or two goes down the road like, oh, wait a minute, we don't have any escrow money.
So,
You know?
just so I understand, these escrow accounts, what are these for?
Actually, this appears to be affordable housing.
But affordable housing escrow accounts, not escrow?
Two different sections.
Great. So tell me which conversation you'd like to answer on. Let's start there then.
My only issue was, and I thought it related to this, but it doesn't because it's with color. Last year we had an issue where there was, I don't know, maybe half a dozen applicants that had a negative balance in their escrow, okay, for applications that were open.
For construction applications.
Whatever.
Got it.
Okay? Which at one point, when it gets to negative, we're supposed to stop. No more service until you replenish that escrow. Right? But we continued, we accumulated, we had to pay our professionals, right? We had no money.
Yeah, so yes, in theory, they would stop, right? But logistically, unless someone told them that there's some money in the escrow, how would they have known?
That's my point.
Right,
We have to put some sort of policy in place.
A policy and someone, and I'm not sure who is in charge of looking at the escrows and dealing with the escrows, but theoretically, there's someone that's in charge of escrow accounts that actually makes a phone call to contractor or whatever, and says, hey, your balance is at $1,000, if that is a policy you create, or $2,000, you have to replenish that at $5,000 or 10, again, depending on the magnitude of the project. So, but someone should be in charge of it to ensure that they're looking at the escrow accounts on a regular basis to ensure that does happen. Because it does. And a contractor or anybody professional wouldn't know that it has happened unless someone told them. So it's kind of not a great situation to be in.
So my understanding, and you can help with this, is that there was some transfer or withdrawal of responsibility for escrow accounts in the land use board by the previous CFO.
Correct, so I used to monitor them, and it was taken away, and Joanna was doing all of it, our CFO. It's now being given back, so, I mean, it used to work seamlessly where obviously I would see it, and I would always get the money, because they wouldn't get the resolution approved, it was right.
So we do have a new policy for back to the old policy.
We're back to the old policy, which worked seamlessly and was fine until.
Well, can we just go back to that? We are.
That's what she
Yeah.
said.
It is
So-
back to it now, and people are punishing, yes.
Okay.
Great.
If there's no, I don't have a mechanism to compel them to pay. You know, like,
Exactly.
if they
They
might
get what
be
they
heard.
want without paying.
Right, so the ones that are done, it's a little bit hard to go back to.
And that was the second point. So obviously we need policy in place, which sounds like we do now, to make sure that we stay on top of this. The other thing is, you know, if you can look into this early, but in the event that we do get in arrears like this, what is our legal right to try to get this money?
So you can go out to the contractor themselves, because it is their project, they are required to pay those funds because it's their responsibility to do so. So you can, obviously, there's a fee, right?
There's language in the resolutions as well.
Yeah, there should be, I haven't looked, but I would imagine there is. And that would be your language that you would use to go after them. Now, you can send them strongly worded letters and hope you get a response, and it's a possibility.
Can we redo the resolution to say that they're responsible for attorney fees as well?
Yeah, you can, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I say we make that change.
And this is a resolution for what exactly?
It would be whenever you have a project, any construction or anything like that.
Oh, so it will be specific to each project?
Yes, but the language would be the same, but we'll just make sure it's in each of those contracts.
Okay. And I assume it helps with the language.
Yeah, if you want, we can do it two ways. I'm trying to think of the least costly. I can do a template language, which should be sufficient at least, and then that can be incorporated when you guys get these contracts, and we can, look at them in that way. That might work.
Thank you.
Okay, so, there was another bill that we did not pay for the main building, which was, Oreo bill. Is there any movement on that you know of? I believe it was a suggestion that last time.
Oh, actually, that was the one that we wanted to negotiate. That's right.
That was the Wilton Brothers. So,
We did. You did ask me to call them. I mean, perhaps that's a discussion, or like for a closed session if you'd like to do it. I leave that to you guys. I can discuss it here. I'm not sure it helps you.
so we're going to continue to hold off on paying.
It's a choice.
Well, what's your pleasure?
Is there financial hardship if we hold off at this point?
Financial hardship to who?
To us?
Oh, a cost later
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
Listen, you, in theory, but it's not on your bill list, you could pay a portion of it, if that was a choice too, right? If you decide to do that, and amount your bill list, and say you're gonna pay $10,000 tonight. You're at 32,000?
Well, would it be appropriate to have Gary or Bob negotiate? Because they're the ones who feel that the turns into his job.
I think that, you may want to discuss this in closed session,
Okay.
if that is a route you're going down.
So we don't have one scheduled.
I have direction to negotiate, and perhaps one of us will have a conversation after this, and let's talk about strategically what is the best route to do. How's that?
All right, so moving on to, the first bill list that we have is May 28th. Are there any questions?
Just one. I mean, I know we just went through a slew of our vehicles and put on all new tires and maintenance, and then I see another 550 with some more. It just seems like we're being hit all at once with maintenance. Is there a reason why? Anyone know?
I have spoken with our DPW director, who said that we are unfortunately in a position where we have old machines that are breaking, and we're constantly fixing them. And he is working with our CFO to get some money, capital money, so we can start replacing some of these machines. I think it's kind of like bubblegum and shoestrings at this point with some of these machines. And it does not, make, at this point, it's not very cost effective to continue to do the repairs, but in the absence of having other machines available, this is where we are. But his plan is to begin looking at replacing machines, and equipment with the capital the capital budget, which is going to be a discussion after we have our budget.
And we broached this subject last year, and I don't know if anyone really wanted to entertain it, but I think we should look, how can we utilize open space money potentially in some of this? It's shared equipment for that land, and I think we should be able to utilize some of that money for this.
And we have had conversations with the open space
John,
committee.
right?
We have had conversations. He has, we had one from Mower Max, which is a quite unique and very impressive machine, which open space is looking to fund, which would be potentially now.
That's when I brought it up last year.
Yes.
I got knocked down.
Yes.
I remember that. I remember it very well.
And the county has purchased for them, and they are also, on Garden Parkway, as they was going through a lot of these. The question is that if we ordered it now, we wouldn't get it till November or so. So the plan is to potentially put it in next year's budget. Get the plan, we have a quote for it already, and get the plan in place to have it for the capital for next year.
Okay, good, all right, great.
But it's the use open space funds, we can't use it anywhere else.
But that's the thing, right? I don't know legally, but it would be a shared expense and a shared equipment, right? So, same thing we did with the bucket truck, right?
We buy it on the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Oh, and, what we could pay maintenance or something on
Yeah.
something.
Correct.
It was a shared
It's just
expense.
Shared
Yeah.
ownership, okay.
Yeah. One other question I had is, I don't really have an issue with it, but I would, the attorney fees that's on this bill, is going to just get a copy of what those bills are? I'm sure nobody should, unless you was for it.
Oh, you wanted the itemized bills?
Yeah.
Where if you don't have them, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I just looked at it.
She has it right there.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll approve it, I have no problem approving it, just like,
So my big comment again is just that we start to eliminate all this miscellaneous stuff. So, with these DPW trucks, it's, yeah,
Yes.
so DPW repair, whatever it is, make a
Well, and recognize that this is the way they have been categorized in this budget that we are existing, so it's going to take some time to start properly categorizing them in the correct type of expenditure. And this will, in fact, change the way our budget looks in comparison to year to year as well. So keep that in mind. Any other questions?
no, I don't really think it's.
Jim, can I have a motion to approve the bill list for May 28th?
I'll make a motion.
I'll put a second. Second. Roll call.
Val?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Moyer?
Yes.
Vanderbeek?
Aye.
Keel?
Aye. Okay, then we have a second bill list, which is from June 4th, which day, and it is payment of mileage reimbursement for construction and zoning personnel. Any questions?
Was that in our packet?
Yeah, it was in the stuff that was,
Oh, I didn't see that.
So if there are no questions, we have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Oh, okay, yeah. You have a second? All in favor, I'm sorry, roll call?
Bell.
Aye.
Bennett. Sawyer. Vanderbilt.
Aye.
Field.
Aye. Okay. We have before us the fire prevention, the police, tax collector, and the rescue squad. Any questions on any of these reports? This is significant in that we have our first fire prevention report that I've ever seen.
I'm glad to see we've gotten some in.
John's doing a good job. Any questions, comments?
Where do we stand with the ESC school and all those funds? That's still open?
It's still shut down. Well, but I think technically those fines were, the ESC school, were when Lambertville was doing things, so maybe, I'm not sure exactly what they're saying.
I'm not sure. Tell me a little bit more about this, I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah, but even when they were doing it, they were westamwell employees, so we still collect the funds. From what I understand, they were significant.
And I may have missed something, this feels like a newer issue today to me.
No, it's actually an old issue.
Well, for you guys.
There was a property that was in violation for several reasons, but more importantly, from a fire standpoint, there was a significant amount of fines.
Oh, I think
levied.
perhaps this has been discussed and should start ringing a bell to me. So the question is, where they are?
Yeah, what we're saying,
All right,
maybe it's a discussion for another day, but I just haven't heard an update in a while, so.
well, we can look into
Well,
it, or like
there's
whoever.
some question about the legality of those fines because of the whole situation with DCA and Lambertville Fire Authority. So
Okay.
we have to look into that a little more.
Yeah, because it says the fines were levied under the official Lambertville Fire District review.
So like the fines were sent technically from Lambertville, not from
Yes.
Weston.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
They likened it to a Pennsylvania state trooper giving you a ticket.
Sure, I see that angle.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no other questions about these administrative reports? Come to our second open session to the public. We have a motion to open to the public. Second? All in favor? To remind you that we have 5 minutes approximately suggested time and one speech per person. Thank you, Mr. Piper.
Sean Pfeiffer, 14th Stuyvesant Road. I'd like to use my public comment to talk about public comment. So I believe it was Mr. Beaumont at the last meeting who correctly noted that when this thing came up about reading things into the record from third parties, that this was something you had inherited. Mr. Ballum, I know you inherited from Mr. Calley. Mr. Calley probably inherited from somebody else. I will observe when I attended meetings 15, 20 years ago, that was never a thing, so I don't know exactly when it started. And from what I gathered from a conversation that took place at the table 2 years ago, part of the basis for it was it seemed like there was some conflation with a planning board and zoning board where, you can't accept third-party testimony if the person's not present because the applicant has a right to cross-examine them. And that's absolutely true. But, I haven't seen that standard applied to a governing body before. And again, I know it's inherited, but I think you may want to take another look at that or reconsider it because I think you can be a little soft on that. I'll just give you a personal anecdote. It's not likely to happen, but just say my dad wanted to make a public comment, right? He's 87 and blind, and he has a guide dog, which is always a little tricky coming in here, as I think you've all seen with a lot of people, because people might step on the dog's tail. And then if he came up to the podium, he's not going to be able to read a statement anyway. He'd either have to play it off his phone or he'd have to have a third party read it for him anyway. So I think it's the kind of thing that maybe, we can be a little softer on the West Animal. And if somebody has...
We had a lot of comments of people speaking for other people, so it's like, you could twist things, you could say things, so.
I get it.
Yeah.
And certainly, people, if somebody gets up and makes a false statement saying that somebody said something, there's obviously remedies for that, right, for somebody to do that. But, you know, I do recall historically where people could say, I couldn't make the meeting, I asked my neighbor to read it in, and they gave a copy of the letter to Maria after the fact. And nobody had
That's a little
questioned.
different, that's a statement from someone that's written by them and signed by them, I think that's a little different.
So that's what the criteria is, if somebody brings in a statement.
I don't personally have an issue with that, that's, you know, but to sit there and say, oh, my neighbor wants to say this, right? I think that's a little dicey, because if they have something to say, they should come and say it, right?
Okay.
You know?
So just to be clear, if somebody wants to read, because I don't think that's the way anybody's going to be doing it in practice. So if somebody has a statement that's signed by the other party, then we want them to read it.
I'm not an attorney. I will look to counsel to answer that, but.
I'm just bringing it up because, like I said, I only started attending meetings again 2 years ago, and this was a thing, and when I attended meetings for 7 years, 20 years ago, this was never a thing, and it never seemed to be a problem. So, thanks.
Hi, Mike Spilly, you Road again. So just a few things. I mentioned agenda turn in several meetings, where the agenda is being added to at the last minute. Bob referenced it today too. It's becoming an increasing problem for me, and I think for other people as well, because we don't know what's going to be discussed unless we actually come here. You know, thankfully there's video that helps, but still, you know, it's fine to occasionally, oh, something came up, have to add to the agenda. This is every single meeting I've attended this year. There have been multiple items added to the agenda, some of them significant. So, you know, there's coming to a point where you're going right up against the OPMA, the Open Public Meetings Act, which is all about transparency, and you guys are supposedly about. Just repeatedly over and over again, adding to the agenda at the last minute, does a disservice to the other township committee members who don't know what's coming up. They're surprised. More importantly, the public is surprised. So I will say, if you keep doing this over and over again, eventually, me or someone else is going to sue the township. Because this is not transparency, this is not in the spirit of Open Public Meetings Act. The spirit is that you publish an agenda 2 days before, not that you add to it an hour before. Well, that's a problem. Two, on the TC quorum, the township committee quorum, I'm not sure what the attorney was referring to. There's carve-outs for, you know, if you have a graduation, religious thing, you meet, you know, food town, yeah, that's fine. A quorum meeting privately in the township committee building, there's been repeated court cases that have found that that's illegal. Over and over and over again. Because it's not just what you discussed. I'm sorry, it's not just about votes. Discussing township business in private, in a quorum, without public notice, without the full body being aware of it, that's a violation. Not sure why the attorney says it's not, because it is, and the courts have found it. People should also know that it's not just what the statutes say, it's what courts interpret as well. So courts have interpreted the Open Public Meetings Act over and over and over again to say quorums cannot just meet on their own and pretend it's something else. Even there's a case that says you can't meet in the back room 5 minutes before, huddle together and say, hey, we're going to hash out what our position is, and then come out. You can't do that.
I just want to say right now, that has not been happening. The three of us are in the same.
Can I finish now?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not accusing anyone of anyone. I'm saying if that's happening, I'm not accusing them. I'm saying if that's happening,
Please
it's
write
illegal.
your comments here.
I don't have to do that, but I will. Last on Brian's case. So I've had to do a lot of stuff with ethics. The law is really clear. If you're a public official, you're talking about your township, you have to disclaim yourself. Disclaim. So you need a disclaimer saying, hi, I'm speaking on my own behalf, not on behalf of the township. What's that one? Second, you can't negate your disclaimer. So what you can't do is you can't say, hi, I'm Mike Spilly, I'm speaking on my own behalf. Now let me speak all about the township and my role here and talk about we and westamwell and the town and the laws. You can't do that because you're basically effectively negating your own disclaimer when you do that. And most importantly, if you're saying I'm speaking for westamwell, you act like you are at a public meeting where a decision may be made, you just tainted that meeting. So if the Hunterdon County Ag Board took your comments to heart and said, oh, westamwell is going to do this, they might throw the whole case out because you misrepresented yourself. you were not representing westamwell, even though you acted like you were. That's all. Thank you.
Sure. Steve Forcio, I represent Gail Brewery, your tenure tax collector. Couple things. One is, just so you understand, most townships and boards of education, when you have people speak, you have a clock running so that they know what the time is. I have my clock running, so I'll know when my 5 minutes are up. That's great. You should have done that from the beginning. The second thing is third-party comments in a public session where you're allowed to speak on anything or even on agenda items. If it relates to the agenda in the first session, then that's fine. I don't know if your attorney told you that you can't discuss third-party comments in a public session, she's wrong. It's the First Amendment. And by the way, I don't have to address any of you guys. I could turn around and talk to anybody I want to. There's case law on that, okay? That's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is, I hear that, it's nice little, cute little bow that you put in this, the construction department about, we're gonna look at it because, it's a budgetary issue, and I knew you were gonna say that. So what I did is I went back and I looked at the minutes for I don't know how many years. Mr. Hoyer was very involved in the budget, and I can tell you, there's not one mention, not one, where West Amwell says, oh my God, we gotta get rid of our construction department. It's bleeding us dry. Not one comment. So you guys, that's right, no, I'm correct. So you guys can try to create that because you have to meet your campaign promise, which was, we're gonna get Gail Brewery. I mean, what you guys have done to her is unbelievable. I've never had in 26 years, have I had a township and an attorney hand me a lawsuit like that in my life. Ridiculous. And I tried to get you guys to stop, but you won't stop. So you're just going to continue to do it. Now she's under investigation for alleged complaints against her after she filed complaints. Give me a break. Bogus. You tried to hire one firm who was completely biased, and then you hired a second firm. Now we got a second firm. I would like to know what your attorney's fees are too. Maybe I'll look for that. So this budgetary thing, and by the way, East Amwell's very happy with the shared services. You would know that. You spoke to Mike, right? So you should really think about what you're doing here because it's a pretext. It's a complete pretext. And it's shameful. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. You represent West Amwell. You don't represent you or him or her or the people to the right. You don't. You represent everybody here. And there's not one reason to get rid of that construction department. Not one, except for the fact of your hatred for Gail Brewery. The quorum, man, this guy should be an attorney because he's right on the money. Right on the money. Your credibility is shot. So anybody who thinks that the three of you guys are going in the back room here and not talking about township business, give me a break. What were you talking about? The football game, the baseball game? Give me a break. Your credibility is shot to begin with, so you're not going anywhere with that. I got news for your clerk. I don't know if your clerk's come to a realization that there's a sinking ship here, but you guys swore an oath, she swore an oath. And when you see unethical behavior, you gotta file a complaint. You gotta file a complaint. And by the way, when you do that, you're protected. So if there's any fear of being retaliated against and getting fired or terminated, they just handed you a ginormous lawsuit. So I don't know if you're gonna, I don't know what's gonna happen here. I mean, when I hear that, when I've heard some of the stuff that's been confirmed, I would be filing complaints yesterday. Yesterday, you should be doing that. But that's unethical behavior, 1,000%. I was on the ethics committee for 10 years for attorneys. So it's not any different. You took an oath. You want to continue this whatever nonsense, go ahead and do it. But don't think for one reason, just because I haven't been here. I've been communicating, and believe me, we're getting ready. We're getting ready. But what's great about this is that you guys can actually do the right thing. Maybe think about, instead of fighting, why don't you guys think about West Amwell residents, all of them, whether you like them or don't like them, and come together and realize that this is not the right thing to do. I don't know how you can have hatred for one person as much as you do. I really don't. I'm not so sure that a lot of people can understand it. But it's nonsensical, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for just listening to the tape. These tapes are crazy. I got 5 seconds. I'll leave you with that. But if I were you, I would come to the realization that you're on a sinking ship, and you may want to consider about doing the right thing.
Okay, Cindy Walters, George Washington Road. After the meeting last time, I recently went online and did some research on the New Jersey Construction Code official list because of this whole DCA question. And I was interested to see that there are 46 New Jersey municipalities that use the DCA in lieu of all of their construction subcode officials, which include building subcode official, electric subcode official, plumbing subcode official, and fire subcode official. And beyond that, almost every municipality in New Jersey uses the DCA, including westamwell, according to the site, for the elevator subcode official. I'm sure we don't have too many elevators here. There's just a handful of towns that don't use the DCA. I'm guessing it would be Newark, Camden, places that have a huge amount. The state site says the reason they do it is because it's expensive for small municipalities like ours to have to pay all these different subcode officials. And also, because the certifications involved, it's very difficult for municipalities to get properly certified officials in so many areas. So I just thought it was interesting. I don't know if you want to go to the list or if you want to form a committee.
Are you advocating to use the state for our services?
I'm advocating looking into it, which I know is what your committee is
So
doing.
just to be clear, the department pays for itself and some. Over the last 9 years, it has profited. In the last 9 years, collectively, it has profited $250,000 to this township. There was a question of last year. It was in some of our books that it lost money, but when I questioned the CFO about it at our last meeting, he said, "Oh, that was an error. It did make money." So I don't know where we stand. But if that is even true, that's 1 year over the last 10 or so, that department didn't pay for itself.
Well, I think
this is a very knee-jerk reaction that all of a sudden we're looking at that department. So I disagree with you, and for us to sit there and make our residents use the state services for this, and yes, it is very difficult to get qualified people. Our construction and zoning department probably has one of the best people in this state. We already have it, so we should be lucky that we have these people.
Well, maybe you are, but all you're doing is,
I stopped your time, so you still have 30 minutes.
all you're doing is looking into it, so it's worth exploring. But there's 46 municipalities that use the DCA for all of their construction services. It'd be worth inquiring and seeing what their experience is. I know we know Hopewell Township is one of them. There's many, none of the big cities are using the DCA. But if you go on the site, and it's very helpful, it's also got phone numbers for each municipality that uses it. So I would think it would be easy to form a small committee and have people explore it and figure it out. I mean, I don't think it's a knee-jerk reaction to look into something. And I think
I don't
that's
think
all.
you need, I mean, we're very happy to create committees all the time to look at things. What we gotta look at is the profitability and the financial stance of this department, and it stands on itself. It's real easy. I can give you a copy of the last 10 years of the financial records of the department. It's all you need to look at. It's a 5-minute exercise.
Well, that sounds like a knee-jerk reaction. What they're trying to do is look into it, and I applaud the mayor and the rest of the committee that are looking into this to figure out if we can save our taxpayers money and if there's more efficient ways of doing it.
You know, the one thing we could save on, quite frankly, with the DCA is our fire prevention. We can hand it over to the state. but we didn't. We hired someone for the rest of the year, $25,000 and a car and a phone and all this. That's fine, you could do that, but let's look at a department that pays for itself.
The reason we did that is because we're helping us.
Then turn over to the state, turn over to state. They would have been happy to take it. But you were okay spending $25,000.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Of course.
I think the community citizens would appreciate considered review of this, so we can figure out if this is efficient for this county, this township, a small township. There are 3 or 5 different subcode officials that we have to pay health insurance and all of that for. It's a
The subcode officials, we only have a couple employees that we pay benefits for. The subcode officials, their time is billed and paid for.
This is public.
Anyway, I applaud what you're doing, and I just thought it might be helpful for you to know that this site exists, and if you wanted to have some people make some phone calls and find out what their
And
experiences
we
are.
are looking at the PCA for the fire official. We just haven't been able to hire them because they put a wall up, but now they've got the wall down, so we're going to be working on that problem.
Anyway, thank you for your work on this.
Exhibit A.
Mr. Brown?
Exhibit A. Wow. Thank you for that.
Jim Calley, 201 Jackson Street. I couldn't disagree more with the comments that were made regarding the construction department in terms of its success in the community, as well as westamwell's decision to stay with us because it is a benefit to both communities. A little while ago, you guys were discussing the bill list and the budget coming up, and what we need to do to try to trim the fat. So, as Mr. Ballin brought up, we have a new DPW, let's say first, at 104,000, car, cell phone, 20 vacation days, 15 sick days. How does that compare to the last head of DPW? Is that a 50%, 100% increase? We have the fire safety guy at $25,000 a year with a car, phone, laptop. Another more than $25,000, that's just for the last 9 months that we're going to go through. So let's look at other expenditures. We have a new assistant treasurer for $12,500. So let's add that into the mix. Then we have a bank reconciliation clerk. I'm not sure how much are they getting paid? $20 an hour, okay. And is that under the CFO's direction? So the CFO gets paid, let's see, I think $50,000, is that correct? And the CFO that we had previously was, I think, in the 40s, 41. So this is like a 25% increase in pay. It is. It is. It's the CFO before. Okay, it doesn't matter with multiples. She was getting paid from us a certain amount. This new CFO, nothing against the person, but you're overpaid. And then we have an escrow clerk. How much is the escrow clerk getting paid? Who is it? The clerk is the escrow clerk now. Okay. And what's that salary? How much? 3,000. Okay. So we start adding up all of this, and then you turn around and you say to the community, well, we can't have a construction department that actually makes money. That is reprehensible from an administrative standpoint, from a financial standpoint. You will be bankrupt. Again, here we are with not a revenue problem, but with a spending problem. You're spending all over the place. And this community, like most communities, tries to run their households efficiently. And you are not running the township efficiently. And you've been in power for a short period of time, and I'm telling you, it is not good. I know that the budget's coming up, and I asked questions about the budget, and I know we're going to have a discussion at the next meeting on the 17th about the budget. That budget is going through the roof, and the taxpayers should be aware of it, let alone the amount of money that the schools are going to be trying to get out of the rest of the residents here. But I do think that it's incumbent upon this committee as a whole, under the deal leadership here, to really fight back from all this spending and to really look at cost-cutting measures without increasing spending. Because you're increasing spending with all these new individuals here. I don't see any of these things that couldn't have been done for less, or potentially, like you were saying before, maybe a shared service. But here you are getting rid of the shared service that we have that actually pays for itself. again, it just doesn't add up. It really, other people have said, and it's probably somewhat true, is that it seems more vindictive and targeted. And I think that that is not what this community needs. Let me see if there's anything else. Regarding, you were mentioning before about New Jersey Free Grow, that they are they in the process of an application with the CAC? Cannabis Advisory Committee?
I'm sorry, for the advisory committee, yes, they are.
Yeah, they're from the advisory committee, okay. And if I just want to just check with the committee, did they get a license? Do we know if they have a license from the state?
They cannot get a license from the state without an approval letter from the municipality in which they're looking to actually operate.
Okay, and this New Jersey Free Grow, is that the same entity that was suing the township?
That is the same entity that's currently suing the township clerk.
Right, and which lawsuit is it? Did they file more than one lawsuit?
I am only aware of one lawsuit.
So when the ordinance was amended and passed, and I remember Bob and Deal and Megan Hudson being strongly against it because they were pro-grow free, which is fine, they could be pro-grow free. But the township committee voted and we amended the ordinance because it was improperly noticed. So with respect to that, how are they able to get through if they're not permitted in their zone?
I think if you're asking this body to predetermine something that they haven't looked at, that would be an inappropriate conversation to have.
No,
The advisory committee would look at the application, make a determination whether they're going to recommend it to the township. And the township can have that discussion, and you are more than free to come to a public session and also have that discussion.
Of course. So my question though is, isn't that property, and again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they have new property, is that property still located in a zone that's not allowed? Gary?
Residential zone,
Yeah, and do we allow cannabis in that residential zone?
not under the current ordinance, no.
Okay,
You have to ask the question of when the application might have been filed. There is a question.
okay. All right, so you're saying, so did you see an application previously?
I did not. No.
Okay.
Your time is up, Mr. Kelly.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I got this correct, because I do think that if there is some bias with some of the committee members towards grow free, going against previous administrations and against ordinances, that would be really a disservice to this community. And more than 5 minutes is okay.
Anthony Blair, 20 Beverage. So I'm a builder. I work through multiple different townships, states even. And I'm going to bring in literature next month's meeting of towns that use the DCA for inspections. They are absolutely horrible. You can say what you want. You can't get an inspector. What we do is we have to take pictures and email and send them to the DCA. Because according to UCC code, you're supposed to have 72 hours to be granted an inspection when you're doing a project. A lot of the time you dig a hole, you got concrete trucks backed up, stuff's going on the job, okay? And you need to keep it moving. And these inspectors can't get out there, and it happens virtually every single time. So before you start a project, at least sometimes the DC has the decency to say, look, here's a personal email. We're going to allow you to take pictures of what you're doing, send them to us, and we'll file it in our file for you. And I have tons of jobs that I've done this with. And next meeting, I'll bring them in for the board to review, because the state says everything is great. Oh, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. But I can show you countless amounts of jobs that I have that I've done through the DCA, and they are absolutely horrendous. And all
Any comments?
First question was, if I recall, not questions, if I recall, the tax levy increase last year was something in the order of 20%. I think this year it's 5%. Is that correct? Okay. So I think I speak for the committee, the tech committee. I appreciate the comments and observations that were shared tonight about the website. I want to reiterate what I said earlier, is that there are no issues reported regarding content or use of the website going into this meeting. And in fact, there's an invitation in the announcement on the website about the new website, and it includes an invitation to share any comments to Committeewoman Joan, so she can correct it.
I did stop your time, but I am curious about that, just because when I looked at it, I'm looking at it right now, and it does seem to all work, all the links and stuff, so I'm not sure if everyone's looking at it.
What I think was my.
Google search.
Well, let me get to, can I get to that?
Yes,
I heard the
please.
question. Let me get to that. So, what I would ask, and invite anybody, if you are observing issues with the content or accessing the website itself, to please share them with, Joan provided her email address, and share them with Joan, and she will share them with the rest of the committee, and we will address them. But I just, as we went in tonight, nobody has commented about it, so we appreciate that.
Can I please respond to this?
No, you cannot.
I guess I can really not, then you can come up.
Right, you cannot. I also want to remind us that this was no choice on the previous administration. The vendor's the one who drove this and required you to switch to a new infrastructure, I'll call it
If
that.
I recall, they
Can I?
have to.
Yes.
What's that?
Yeah, it wasn't like a choice,
You actually did have a choice,
to do what?
go to a different vendor.
Yeah.
That
Still would
would
have rebuilt it.
that would have been a worse nightmare.
Correct.
You would have the same issues externally that you have now. So I just want to remind folks that it was out of your hands at the time, and the decision was made last year.
And if they chose another vendor, they would have to pay for that.
Absolutely, because the vendor would have no idea about our website, and the migration would have been worse. We know that from migrating to this vendor. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. So if there are any issues that show up about content, typos, please share them with Joan. She has her email in that message. My message will, the news will stay there. I actually have a question of clarification for the attorney, if you can. I'm not asking questions, just clarification. Understanding of the sunshine laws as it relates to public comment, it was mentioned earlier by Sean. My understanding is it requires that a public body provide a portion of the public meeting to public comment. Is that a correct statement?
Say that statement again.
I'm sorry.
No, I think I heard
That a
it.
public body, such as this, is required by the Open Public Meeting Act to provide a portion of the meeting for public comment.
Correct.
Okay. Number two, the public body is allowed to, by law, to set a specific amount of time for an individual to talk. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Okay. Thirdly, public body has to allow a speaker to talk about any topic as long as it's of concern to residents. Is that a correct statement?
Correct. I mean, honestly, your agenda actually is a little off there. The other way you do it is to allow the first portion of public to be on the ordinances, and the second
Right.
only open to be for anything.
Right, this one's a little more open in that regard.
Yes.
But it has to be a topic that is of public interest.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm disappointed because I was going to stand up here and sing a love song
You
about
can.
my
I mean,
well, that's not a public interest, so.
I would agree for everyone's benefit, that's not a helpful thing, but I will tell you that if you can see it on TikTok, you can see, I'm stopping your time, you can see videos where you are allowed by the First Amendment to stand here and sing if you truly wanted to. Will your neighbors appreciate it? I don't know, that's up to you guys, right? Because it seems like you're lengthening the time of the meeting, but I leave that to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the fourth thing to confirm is that the public body is not required to respond because it's actually a comment section. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you have the right not to respond to something or to say, I don't have an answer, but I'll get back to you on another meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Interpreted correctly. Appreciate it. I have something that I don't want to spend time on tonight, but hopefully you discuss in a future meeting. This is way out of left field here. As you many know, I live on Rock Road West. It's kind of a narrow road. There's a lot of traffic on it though, because people don't continue to use our road after. We're well into the season of landscaping, mowing lawns. And landscapers come in, they park on the road, and they take more than half the road to park, and they're there for hours. I was on the Berry Road, I think it was the other day, whatever, and there was somebody To me, that's a real hazard, to park there for a significant amount of time. And I would ask the committee to consider a discussion in some of the future, what we might do to make that situation a little safer. I mean, people on my road, they all have long driveways. I don't know why landscapers can't drive up the driveway and sit there, do their business, and come back down. So that's something I hope that we can discuss in the future. Very much.
I wonder if Mr. Steele, if you wouldn't mind discussing some of the technicalities with Mr. Beaumont?
I will, but I do want to just rebut it a little bit, because I did notify him before this meeting, so he's aware of my concerns. Not sure why he's saying he hasn't gotten any complaints, because he did.
Oh, is he?
More importantly, so very simply, anyone here has a phone, Google Dave Beaumont, West Amwell. Your first link will be westamwelltownship.org. Click the link, it's long for Google Ron and Deal. Go to Hunter County websites that link into West Amwell. All those links are broken. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand. They've worked in IT for years. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know why he's pretending there's no issue. The site has an issue. It does. And there's ways you can fix this sort of thing. You can actually contractually just say, make the old site look like the new one. You can play some games with it. You can still have a new structure. It'll all work. These things happen. I'm perfectly fine with the migration wasn't perfect. I just don't appreciate someone saying it's all good, everything's wonderful. What? There's no complaints. What the hell?
Any other comments?
Not much of a comment to that comment. I do.
Well, if there are no others, can I have a motion to close? If you want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other items?
Guys, I am very concerned about lots of things that I heard here tonight, right? We can talk about what's law, what's legal, what's right, but there's a whole other side of this, is what's ethical, okay? And beyond that, it's all about optics, okay? The three of you are obviously friends outside of this committee, and hang out, fine. But to say that, oh, let's get together at the township building and have a...
We never say that.
Well, I don't know why else you're here, if you're saying... Whatever. I'm not here to debate that.
I'm trying to do it so that Bob finishes his statement.
And I'm just saying, you guys, this is what your whole campaign was about, was this exact stuff. And whether it's right or wrong, and whether you're doing the right thing, it's optics to this town, to these residents. The optics are not good. So why even put yourself in that situation? I mean, put us in that situation.
You're not doing it.
I'm part of this committee, and this committee may have done something that they shouldn't have done.
They have not. And if anybody noticed, public comment, you take notes. I didn't see you make any notes.
Why do I gotta take notes?
Yeah, exactly, because you don't business.
I don't know, is it required that I take notes? Maybe I can just remember that.
But you were invited to do stuff, and you recused yourself.
What am I invited to do that I've never done? If you're gonna make a statement, then back it up, Brian. Back it up.
You've made statements that we are in the back.
Way to go, Brian.
I didn't say that. I never said that. I never said that.
Just hold on.
I said that they were sitting, apparently, I'm hearing they're having meetings.
Please stop. Stop.
That's all. That was my statement.
Please
I'm just
stop.
making a statement other people made. I don't know if it's true, right? I'm just saying it's optics. It's my opinion. I have a right to my opinion.
Please stop. Committeeman, when you're done, let them know so then they can add their piece and we can move
So,
on.
I mean, I don't know where I go. Me personally, I don't know where I go from here. But ethically, this is a problem. And I hope that everyone, including the clerk here, will look at this and proceed properly, because I'm entertaining like an ethics complaint. I gotta be honest. To protect myself.
Get in there, Bob.
Take notes on that, Betty.
Are
Good.
Please stop.
there any comments, questions, facts, or correspondence?
The only thing I'd say is correspondence on the Delaware Township ordinance prohibiting data centers. I think we should look into this. If this is I would assume a land use issue, that we should ask the land use board to review it. It's something that we should consider. So that's number one there.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder, have there been any challenges to these kind of ordinances as discriminatory?
I think it's relatively new, so.
And the thing is, it's not so much being against it, it's just that there's not enough information out there to address it properly, so.
Well, I think that, in a review of the permitted uses in the different zones.
I think that's where it has to go, into the master plan.
Where is, it's in actually our land use ordinance, and in the permitted uses, there's a table in there, it's section 3, I believe, and there is a line for data centers, and we do need to review that, because it does say that we did it in all areas, so that's the one place I can see where we would need to remove that, and then it would not be permitted in any area in our township, as part of our land use ordinance. Yeah, you want to speak to it?
They're working on it so that they can get into what it is.
Well, there is a definition of data center in that. We would have to look at the definition in our ordinance, because there is a definition of data center in there, so we have to look at that, and that also, potentially just removing that line from our land uses table in the land use ordinance.
Yeah, because I know of a township in Pennsylvania that had one presented, and they called it a normal size, it was actually twice the size of the one that got built.
I think maybe, the review of that, and maybe potentially others where we would just make sure that we've got all our bases covered, but that's the one place I found it.
Yeah, I mean, to Brian's point, I think it's a good idea to at least entertain.
Okay, if there are no other questions about correspondence or suggestions, we will adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
I wanted to see copies of that.